So, first off, I want to actually mention that I was actually going back and playing an old game I grew up as a child. Okay, um, and that would be, now I want to say child, probably teenage years, and that would be Fantasy Star. Okay, this was for Sega. Okay, not the Master System, not the first one, not the 8-bit system, but the 16-bit Genesis. Okay, now as we have learned binary, okay, one of the things that we realize is how much is 2 to the 16th power as we're using 16 bits. Okay, so since Sega Genesis is a 16-bit system, okay, when I use Game Genie to actually put money in my pocket, right? Okay, instead of me having to go out and get money, uh, what was my surprise, and not a surprise, expectations after I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's right, this is a 16-bit system. Okay, what was the amount in my pocket? Right there. Except it was actually 535. I don't know why. I don't know what that extra bit is for. Why it's always coming out to 535 instead of 536. Not sure, but nonetheless, you know what? It's maybe it's some type of parody bit or some type of experiment bit. That's probably what it is. I don't know, but nonetheless, okay. That's something you got to look up and give me the answer if you feel like it. Most likely, I probably end up looking it up later anyway. But nonetheless, I just want to show you what 16 bits really meant to what it really meant, and how as a kid, a teenager, how I would brag and brag about how this is a 16-bit system. All I knew, okay, was I could get more colors and better sound. All right. Now you take a game like Fantasy Star 2, okay? Yeah, the sound's not that great. It's 16-bit systems, only 16 bits of sound. However, the play music and the fighting music are fantastic. I love it. I mean, it brings me back to to my memories of playing this game, because Fantasy Star 2 came with a book of maps, and there's a reason why you need that book of maps. There's no, I mean, it's difficult, especially when you got tunnels going from one place to another tunnel, another tunnel, another tunnel. Okay, so I just wanted to make that point. Now, all right, I want to actually go back here. Now I got blanked that out. Where's All right, 736. So I have to go back here. Okay, we are actually at the iOS basics. So we are we're almost, okay, getting to the point where um we're able to get into the iOS and start learning how the operating system works. Now remember, okay, now before, what I used to do this, I used to use a camera, and I need to actually go through my USB settings, um, and of course at this point you realize this is not a training video. This is me talking about something else. Um, I had to go through and uninstall my USB ports of the device manager, because of the fact that um, my camera's not working. I think that might be the issue. If not, I had to buy me a new camera. Either way, it will be fixed once I get paid. Matter of fact, I gotta write that on my list of things that I need to add. So, nonetheless, okay, I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna go get something for you. Okay, all right. First of all, I don't know if you know, but at one point when I originally was doing this, all my spare time, okay, was accelerating my career. All right. Now, I could have had my CCIE in 2 years, but what I have noticed was even 2 years out of the gate with a CCIE, these individuals weren't really at the level that I wanted to be as a CCIE. I had certain standards that I wanted to be, okay, and because of that, I had, during my CCIE training, part of my training was mastering the technology and mastering my skill set. Okay, the engineer I wanted to be and the CCIE that I wanted to be. I did not want a CCIE, okay, with with not being able to show it off. I mean, from the concept of, hey, I got a CCIE. First of all, I got the credentials to back it up. And when you sit there and talk to me in an interview or just in general, you realize that I got Kyle Martin to back it up. Does that make sense? Okay, so I went on a 6-year journey before I actually took my CCIE. And that's studying every day. Now that takes a lot of dedication and a lot of dedication, okay, and a lot of discipline. Okay, but that's what I did. So during that time, I had gained 100 pounds. Okay, now the way you see me now, I have lost that 100 pounds. Okay, all right. Technically, I got down to 235. Okay, and then with my heart failure, I actually got back up to 250. Okay, which I'm still working on trying to get that back down. However, during that time frame of me first dealing with the heart failure, the lack of breathing, the lack of the exhaustion, all that stuff before I started getting better. Because right now I'm using the treadmill on a regular basis. Okay, so before I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even breathe getting up to go to the bathroom. Okay, and not to mention the fact other issues. Okay, and I'm telling you, there is a huge list of symptoms with heart failure. Okay, and one of them was fluid retention. Okay, all right, legs swelling up and stuff like that. Not to mention the fact I had stomach issues, which I'm just now getting antibiotics for because I got some kind of weird bacteria that's what's causing me discomfort on a regular basis. All right, so all this was causing my weight to gain back. Okay, because at one point when I left YouTube, okay, um, I had that for 2 years I had changed a lot of my behaviors because I was determined to get back to the weight. All right, the second time because I lost down to three. I had lost 100 pounds. I was down to 235 at one point. Okay, and I ended up getting really, really sick for a while, and I spent a lot of time sleeping. Okay, and I gained all that weight as I was sleeping because I would literally go get something to eat, come back and lay down. I mean, when I look, for 5 years I had spent my time in doctor's offices trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Okay, and finally, over that period of time, I have finally gotten some real answers over this here and there, and this year I've gotten some good ones too. All right, one of them, and I'm not kidding you, is iron deficiency. Holy, look, check this out. All right, look, the iron is so low that I got an iron supplement. Okay, all right. And that iron supplement you works for probably a few hours, and then I start getting sleepy again. Okay, and of course, while in the beginning you're not paying attention to the fact you're getting sleepy, you're just tired. So I was taking naps on a daily basis, and it was extremely important to me that because it was, that sleeping and taking that nap was important because I at least had to sleep for an hour to 2 hours to be regenerated for the rest of the day. And I can't do that when I am going back to work. So come to find out, vitamin C helps you absorb more of your iron intake, which is something I have found through research. And so now I take my iron, put obviously put water in there and mix it with vitamin C, ascorbic acid, and oh my God, every morning it's like, look, it is like a kick in the actual brain, man. And I am up all day, no tiredness, no nothing. Okay. All right. And if I did get tired, all I have to do is take another one. Seriously. Okay. It's and this past week, since last week, since I started doing this, mixing the two, man, they, all right, look, and there's also the the V8 energy drinks, which is all natural. That's why I like them. There's no caffeine rush. There's no jitteriness. With that, drinking that as well. But let me tell you, okay, there has been days where I haven't had V8 all day for days in a row. Okay, the iron with the vitamin C is amazing. It's so amazing. Now, of course, I really don't like the fact that I'm iron deficiency, but it is what it is. And in fact, if I would have known this years ago, okay, all right, because this doctor that I have now caught the iron, all right, and I just happened to get an iron supplement because I need to get my iron up so I could donate plasma, okay, because they check your iron, all right. And I'm not going to do that anymore because the doctor is brought some things to my attention as far as with the heart failure and taking blood out of my system and so on and so on. So, but nonetheless, that's how I did it. And once I got some iron, and I could feel the difference once the iron once I took it. So it's been a part of my daily thing. This doctor had found my iron being low, and I've never had a doctor do a detailed blood work like this one. I mean, for for a whole entire year, okay, I had gone to the doctors. I can't tell you how many times. All I can tell you is the copay was $20, and I had spent well over $2,000 easily with copay that year because I kept falling asleep. All right, and I just can't imagine that they missed this. But this was my expectation of doctors. I had no faith in any of them. Okay, with the heart failure, it had renewed my faith in doctors because the difference is night and day. I wish I would have had this doctor in the beginning. I mean, night and day. And he was really concerned about my iron levels, and he was absolutely right on the money. All right, this is literally keep me awake. I'm so amazed. This discovery is powerful, especially those who have watched my channel back in the day. They know how religious I am to liquid trace minerals magnesium. Okay, consider the fact knowing that magnesium is responsible for over 300 chemicals in your body. Yeah, it's crucial to me. And anybody who watched my channel knows how much I've raved about magnesium. Okay, now it's iron and vitamin C. But but that's just the case. What I want to show you is a picture of me when I was 330 pounds. Okay, yeah. So you look at my face, all this. All this is gone. Okay. All right. Why am I telling you this? Remember when I said life is a roller coaster? Because it is. Okay. You can't have everything. Okay. You got to have one or the other. All right. And if you are going to excel your career and hardcore it like I did, okay, and I have had people in the field for decades that had found how my study habits were, and they were like, man, I've never, he was like, that's the most hardcore thing I've ever seen. I've never experienced anything like it. All right. Okay. there is a sense of, it just shows you a sense of who I am. Okay. All right. I stay until the job is done. All right. There is no getting up, walking away. There is no giving up. All right. But I want to show you what happens when your priority switches from what you're doing, okay, as far as lives in general, because when I was running my own HVAC business, okay, I was 240, 240 pounds. But think about it. I'm always going to crawl spaces. I'm constantly walking. I'm constantly carrying my tool bag around. And if you've done heating and air conditioning, that requires more tools than any other trade that I know of. Okay, off the top of my head. All right, so especially when I carry my sheet metal box, that thing was heavy as hell. All my sheet metal tools. All right, so you gotta understand. All right, you got physics involved. You have sheet metal involved. You have electricity involved. All right, you got control wiring involved. And luckily, I have these skill sets. So learning that part of the HVAC field wasn't that bad. I had to learn the physics. That was the hardest part. As far as heat transferation rates and what happens to a liquid when it evaporates, things like that. Okay, understanding the pressures. But I had no problems. I had no concerns. I didn't have to worry about my weight because I was constantly climbing up ladders, constantly climbing up on roofs, especially when I was working in DC. I mean, that's a given. I had to literally, and I'm not kidding, I had to literally get a gym membership to go into the gym just so I can handle and lift the ladder that we use off my truck to get on the roofs in DC. Okay. All right. And I got my strength up. Cause I don't know if I ever told you that, but I used to be, not a bodybuilder, but a heavy, lifter, 6 days a week, 2.5 hours a day. All right. And I did that because I changed, because I've never, my broad shoulders, that was built. That was a body transformation. I changed my body to the way I wanted to. Because as a teenager, I was, I was scrawny. Okay. I had no forearms. I had no shoulders, nothing. I changed my body type. Okay. All right. And again, you're starting to see how disciplined I am. When I want something, I go and I get it and I make sure it happens. Okay. And nothing stops me. All right. However, when you're studying Cisco, okay, when I was doing HVAC was my priority. All right. On the summertime, I got an average of 4 hours of sleep. Okay. I'll be so tired and I'll be knocking on people's doors up to 2 o'clock in the morning. As long as they didn't mind, I didn't mind. All right. The last thing I want to do is make someone wait tomorrow, okay, to actually have their AC fixed. Not to mention the fact I don't turn away money. I don't give them the choice or the option to know that they have a choice to call somebody else. Not to mention the fact, because I would be willing to come out always on the same day, up to 2 o'clock in the morning, okay, guess what? All right, people loved me. So the thing is, I had a balance. It didn't matter what I ate, okay? All right, there's no getting tired. Two things when I was in HVAC, especially in the summertime, two things, okay, that I made sure so I could keep on going. Going from 5 o'clock in the morning, okay, because I think the supply houses open up at 6 or something like that. No, nonetheless, I was always there first thing in the morning. All right, so 5 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the morning, okay, I had to last the whole day. All right, I had to. All right, because summertime is where the money was at. And because of that, all right, two things was extremely important during the summertime, every day, all day long. And that was water, okay? All right, very picky with my water for good reasons. Not good reasons from the concept of being hydrated, but I have a issue with my body utilizing water correctly. I've been dealing with that, uh, ever since I can remember, ever since I was a kid. But nonetheless, so particular water that I would drink. Okay, they don't have to change those waters because my body will get used to it and reject the water. All right, that and fruit, a cooler of cold fruit, cold strawberries, cold oranges, cold apples. Really big on oranges and really big on strawberries. For some reason, strawberries, and I'm not really a strawberry fan either, to be honest. I really don't like the taste of them, but boy, in the summertime, they definitely revive me. All right, with Cisco, okay, my priority was Cisco, where, like I was saying, in the HVAC, when I was doing that, the balance was the exercise I was getting out of the work. Okay, I only worked on myself. It was my company. I didn't have any employees. All right, so if I had to lift a unit, I mean, I had to use that strength. I had to use physics to my advantage to be able to move equipment. Okay, all right, an outdoor unit that's 14 SEER, a big unit, I had to set that thing on stilts myself, especially if it was a heat pump. Okay, I had to actually move that unit from the onto the truck. Okay, to get it into the van, I had to move it from the van, okay, to the actual place that was being sit in someone's backyard. Okay, especially when that backyard is in the bottom of a hill. All right, that there was a balance there. Something I never paid attention to, of course. All right. Here, there is no balance because your priority with Cisco is to learn the technology and you are sitting down the entire time. And one thing that I realized when I used to work in DC, I had to sit there for hours in the morning waiting for a call to come in. Okay. I would fall asleep in the van all the time. Okay. And that right there got me so stiff that my daughter had to tie my shoes for almost a year because I couldn't even bend over to put my shoes on. Okay, when you're sitting still and falling asleep in a sit still position in a van, worse than you can ever have. And that gave me my first experience of what happens when you sit still a lot. All right. And with Cisco, you'll be sitting still a lot. All right. Now, this is the result, okay, of me putting Cisco in a priority. And I always used to say, because some people sometimes, because everybody knows that I have zero tolerance on my channel. So, but everybody, not everybody, but there was a couple people that will always talk about how fat I was, okay? And then I will always respond with the concept of, my weight should be your last concern. I'll take care of my weight when I need to, when I feel like taking care of it. Right now, my my priority is Cisco, which should be your priority coming to my channel watching Cisco videos, right? And I was very adamant about that. And it didn't matter what anybody thought or said about my weight. I knew in the back of my mind, okay, all right, when I want to take care of it, it's taken care of. You're talking to someone that can go to the gym 6 days a week, okay, and did it religiously for a while to change his entire body type. Okay, that's how I got my thighs, my calves, okay, my back. My back wasn't as wide as it is now. It was, my frame. Like I told you, I was scrawny. Okay, I was scrawny. All right, and just expanding my back and expanding my rib cage. Okay, changing my body type. Yeah, I mean the plus part about it was no one would ever challenge me because I was a big dude, right? So, but nonetheless, okay, all right. You're seeing me with hair now. That's how I look when I'm bald. All right. Right now, I don't have any clippers, and that's one of the first things I'm going to be buying, which has to go on my list of miscellaneous things I need to get once I get paid. Okay. And clippers is one of them because, I always keep my head clean shaven just like that. And I haven't been able to do it for a while because, I can't find my clippers. I don't know where the hell they're at. But again, okay, when you're studying, all right, remember what I did. I changed my sleeping habits. so I could get 18 hours out of each day and only sleep 6 hours a day. 6 hours of sleep a day. Okay. I had to force myself to do that, and then eventually my body got used to it. It took me about, I don't know, a few months, maybe 3 months, to actually, because I would shave off 15 minutes as a time as far as going to bed 15 minutes earlier and then waking and getting up 15 minutes earlier. And I would do that for like a week on one side of the scale, and then I would go to the other side of the scale the next week, and I kept doing this every week until I shaved down to 6 months. So if you want to do the math, you can tell how long I did it from that perspective. However, all right, 6 hours was all I required. Okay, I got 18 hours out of my day, and boy, did I use those 18 hours. But this is the result of prioritizing Cisco to the point, all right, where you can't have one and the other. All right, think about it. Lifting for an hour, that's an hour of my day. That means I now only have 17 hours. All right, that wasn't good for me. I needed 18 hours out of my day. All right, dedicated to what I was doing. Now, 2018 is when I started, okay, to exercise. You can see my, I forgot I had my projector up there. You can see my projector up there, hanging on the ceiling. I had started with a recumbent bike. Okay, very expensive. However, when I went to test the bike, it was fun. I liked riding it. And the problem with every exercise machines, including treadmills and stationary exercise bikes, is they always cause pain, man. So obviously pain will stop you from using the equipment, period. All right. I don't care what type of equipment I got. All right. And I did not give up. And when I found that recumbent bike, all right, even though it was, and I had to get one for my weight too. Keep in mind, I'm 330 pounds here. I had to find a recumbent trike that actually supported 300 pounds. Okay. And that wasn't easy. It was only one manufacturer that did it. Okay. And that bike ended up costing $6,000. Okay. And you got to ask yourself, $6,000. Right? First of all, how am I going to come up with that? Luckily, I got to pay an installment because I gave them a down payment to order the bike. Okay, and then I had time to save up the money because it took a while to get the bike into the store, and then they had to put it together. So that was like another week. Okay, of me waiting before I actually got to use the bike. It took weeks for it to get shipped. So I had enough paychecks to put money away every week to actually save up to pay the balance on that bike. Okay. And let me tell you, best thing I ever bought. All right. And I sold it because I needed money during that time. And I'm going to be buying another one. That's going on that's going on my list too. All right. Now, that alone, I started an hour in the morning. Okay. I got so used to it that I started doing an extra hour in the evening. Now, of course, this is after my CCIE. Keep that in mind, okay? Because during my CCIE, okay, you gotta understand, the last part of my CCIE, my third attempt, I had a stroke a week or two earlier. As a matter of fact, no, I mean, it was only probably like a week earlier because I still had major headaches from that stroke. And I had to do my last attempt with a headache for 8 straight hours. And boy, it was killer. And that's the one I ended up passing on. I mean, because my determination was higher than I've ever had it before to get through the exam. I'd already taken it twice, okay? And there's a saying, you're already hurting, you're already suffering, you might as well get a reward for it. All right, and that kept sticking in my head as I was going through that exam. Those 8 hours was treacherous. And you also got to understand, too, that after that fact, I didn't have enough money for the hotel again to stay that night. So I had to drive 4 hours home. So, and I was living in Northern Virginia at the time, so it was about a 4-hour drive to get to North Carolina. All right, so those type of things, All right, you're playing with fire. All right, and I'm not gonna tell you don't do what I did, because every damn thing that I did, if I had to do it all over again, you goddamn right I would. Okay, and in my second attempt for my CCIE security, I'm not going to need to go hardcore. Okay, with my foundation of routing and switching to the level that it's at. Okay, the security aspects, is, that part I don't have to worry about, so that shaves off time. But guys, do not get it twisted. Okay, you got ICE, web security appliance, email security appliance, firepower. Okay, the threat defense and the FMC. You got your ASAs. You got your stealth watch, your fire amp, your wireless control. Guys, don't get me wrong. All right, it's definitely going to take some time, but at the same time, I'm not going back to what you're looking at right here. Okay, and I'm not telling you never to get there, but I wouldn't. All right, I really wouldn't. You also got to understand too that my marriage was so bad that put extra stress on there. And then after I left my wife, I did not even realize that the entire time since I was a damn kid, that every time I would get stressed out, I would eat. Okay, the girlfriend that I had at the time, she's the one that brought it to my attention. And it was just a conversation that came out of nowhere. All right. And I mean, she saw this in me and I never did. Okay. And from since then, I have recognized that's exactly what I do. Get a big old bowl of spaghetti every time I'm stressed out. All right. Now, 2 years. So that means I end up losing down to 235, went back up, okay, to 330 pounds again after losing all that weight. It took me a year to lose 100 pounds, guys. Biking twice a day, 2 hours a day, one in the morning when I got up, one in the evening before I went to bed. All right. A year's a long time. And to have that weight come back within months, okay, it's frustrating. So I had to end up doing that again. Okay, got me down to 235 again. Okay, and with the heart failure, I gained 25 pounds really fast. All right, but at the same time, I'm maintaining it. I'm not getting back to that weight ever again. I don't care if I have to starve myself. Okay, and what is the point of all this? The point is when a priority of something that you put higher than anything else, that priority ends up getting what is needed as far as time, responsibility, dedication, discipline, okay? And you are almost guaranteed to be successful. And I'm not kidding. There's nothing on this planet that you can't do. Nothing. But what is my formula? Success equals time plus sacrifice. That time, guys, is so important. And when I created this formula, okay, I have been preaching it ever since because of its seriousness. Now, equipment, okay? I figured you guys would like this, all right? Now, check this out. Keep in mind, this is my equipment, okay? This is what I would build labs with. All my labs, okay, besides CSRs, okay, besides the virtual CSRs, there was no virtualization. The only thing that I virtualized was Juniper, because my Juniper SRR SRX hardware device ended up dying on me. And I think because I ended up putting the wrong power supply on there and I overpowered the circuits. Okay. Because, I mean, it lasted for, after I got that, because I ended up moving and I think I just grabbed the wrong power adapter because it fit. I think after I moved, it lasted for 3 months. And that's the thing about electronics. You know, I mean, they'll still work. Okay. But you're prematurely killing it if you overpowered the circuits. Okay. So, you know, always use that's why even with my cell phones, which I'm not a cell phone person, I hate them. But at the same time, I always use the charger that comes with it. I won't use anybody's charger. I'd rather wait until I get home to charge it. There's nothing that important for my phone to be charged unless I need an Uber. Okay, and I have no transportation. That's it. That's the only time I will use somebody else's charger. Otherwise, I don't do it. I use the damn charger that comes with that was made for the phone. Okay, by the manufacturer. All right, that will from the perspective. Now, keep in mind. I mean, I have an understanding of electronics. Okay, without that understanding, okay, when I say understanding, okay, guys, I'm a scientist at heart. All right, regardless of what I do for a living, I've always been a scientist at heart. Okay, and there is one thing about me is when I was a kid, I was extremely curious. I didn't chase women. I didn't go to parties. I took things apart. Okay, so fixing my VCR. The only thing I didn't mess with was TVs because those tubes. I was always scared of that 50,000 volts because I had to understand electricity too. All right, and what it could do and how it affected, everything. Okay, the earth, the magnetic field, everything. So that I was very scared of. So I never messed with TVs. All right. Plus, I didn't have the equipment for that anyway. So I would, as a teenager, I would solder things onto the board. Okay, replace resistors, replace capacitors to fix my devices. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about as far as an understanding of electronics. I have a background in that from tinkering, but never have taken an electronics course. Okay, so I'm not at that level. All right, so this is my equipment, and I want you to pay attention how it towers. If I had placed them all in one row, how it would tower. First of all, it would hit the ceiling, because you got to keep in mind I'm already at the doorknob at the middle stack. Okay, and I'm past I'm higher than the fireplace with the one on the left. Okay, and the one on the right. Okay, I'm past the top of the doorknob. Okay, all right, so I wouldn't even have enough roof space. Okay, to stack it up that high, and plus, we got a Jenga thing going on there. If I get any higher than when I had it, I didn't want to go any higher. Now, last thing I want to show you. Okay, back in 2010, I think, or 2011. All right, when I decided to go for my CCIE, this is the first CCIE lab that I created, and I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention, okay? Because as I am explaining to you, all right? Actually, I don't need to do it that way. When I explain it to you that this lab is what I created, okay? And I had the equipment to do it with, all right? And I want you to look at how, even at a young novice stage, okay, how I separate these things in sections. Okay, here's my EIGRP section, okay, separated with dotted lines. Every section had their own different shape. Okay, RIP was actually as a square, okay, and down here, okay, I had my little wiggly lines and plus this is when I started putting things in VLANs because I didn't have enough interfaces or whatever obstacle I came into. Okay, all right, guys, and I can't tell you enough. All right, just because you can actually put everything in a VLAN, don't do that, man. Don't create more trouble for you than what it's worth. Because nothing is worse. And I'm not kidding, man. Nothing is worse. You got enough stuff to study. You got enough time to do, enough to do things that you have on your plate anyway. I'm sorry, I'm getting winded. Okay, and that's what happens when I start getting winded. The worst thing in the world, okay, as you are trying to learn topics, is to have something that is irrelevant to your lab, okay, because you could have just made a direct connection, all right, and you put another layer on top of that because you put it in a VLAN, all right, and it's something stupid like your VLAN, your interface VLAN is shut down, and it's taking you hours to troubleshoot, if not days, because you can't figure out why it's not working. Something so stupid. You should have never put that layer on there in the first place. All right, that is, I mean, when I see a lab, okay, going, and the only time I have done multiple VLANs like that for every device is when I was using VMware ESXi server, okay, and trunking the information for every PC. Okay, I had 20 VLANs, and every VLAN had its own DHCP server coming out of a router. Okay, and I used sub interfaces for those routers. Okay, and used the .1q command or the encapsulation for that VLAN or for that sub interface. Okay, and that allowed my traffic to be isolated as it went across DHCP. First of all, it allowed me to do DHCP from one router, okay, and have 20 interfaces. That's one. Two, I could actually send my traffic across my UC into my UCS server, all right, and with VS6i, put my actual interface on VLAN 4095, which will actually do trunking, okay, and send and turn the trunk on for that particular interface on my switchboard and be able to do it via trunking, okay. That was only for my PCs though. Think about it, okay, because if that wasn't working, let's say something dumb, okay, like I decided to do something that I shouldn't have did, which I've done before, which is why I'm warning you, okay, I pruned the actual VLANs, okay, and I know VLAN 15 is allowed because I'm looking right at it and I see it's allowed, but it's not because it was only VLAN 14, all right, and in my mind, I saw 15 because I kept telling my brain there's 15, and my brain saw it's 15, okay, all right. So anytime I would run into that problem with the PCs, I would literally just take it because when I got my server, all right, I purposely filled out the PCI slots with NIC cards. So I had 4 NIC cards, or five. I'm sorry, I had 5 NIC cards, okay, because there was 2 on board, all right, and I ended up putting in 3 extra ones. Matter of fact, I had to do some customization to actually get one of them in there. All right, literally having like to cut the top of the actual network card board so I could fit in there to give me my fifth interface. All right, so I would literally go into the VM and bridge that interface specifically to that PC, okay, and run that cable out and plug it into my devices. All right, hardcore, no switch, no VLAN, no nothing, just right into the router. All right, because I didn't have time to troubleshoot. All right, and when I ended up finding out what it was by mistake. Okay, all right, and I think my daughter was the one that actually called it. She's like, I don't see 15 on there, okay, because she was just walking by and asked me what the problem was, and she was like, well, shouldn't you have 15 on your list? And it was not there. Okay, so I don't mess with that stuff. I keep it as simple as possible because I don't have time to be troubleshooting extra layers that I put on top of my lab because it shows how smart I am, or it looks fancy, or because I can do it. All right. So I just want to make that point that this lab was drawn, okay, while I was in school waiting for the teacher to show up, okay, all right, and then I went home, all right, and I actually cabled it up and created this lab, all right? And trust me, it was the hardest thing I had ever did in my entire life and extremely time consuming. Right now, God knows how fast I can build it, all right? But still at the same time, that's my point. This is why you should be doing your own labs. So I just wanted to have a nice sit down chat with you, little chat over coffee, all right, to start your morning off, and hopefully the information that we talked about today has helped, Okay? And always remember, guys and ladies, always be strong, be determined, be Cisco.